What's up, everybody? Metal Dave here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we are excited to talk about Jason and Dangerous Toys, their induction into the Metal Hall of Fame.
Yay, Dangerous Toys.
Wow. Dangerous Toys in the Metal Hall of Fame. You guys were inducted in January of, so just a few weeks ago. This is the 9th annual Metal Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I believe. You guys were recognized along with some of the other names on the bill. Ricky Rocket from Poison, Doyle from the Misfits. I'm not sure who. Some of those people didn't actually make it because of the fires in the LA area, but you were in good company. You mentioned that you ran into Bobby Blitz from Overkill, Mark Lopes from Metal Church, Becky Baldwin from Merciful Fate.
I mean, it was the NAMM show was in town, right? So
Yeah.
it was a lot of cool folks just kind of milling around.
And it was hosted by Eddie Trunk.
That's
right. He was there. Again, I mean, I just thought it was awesome. I know all of us here in South Texas were cheering for you. Dangerous Toys has been part of our record collection since we were kids. We've all grown up with you. Some of us have gotten to know you. And so we were super proud to see that you and the Dangerous Toys guys were recognized by a wider audience.
Thank you. It was a nice surprise, you know, to have some sort of people's choice, you know, the board of directors of Metal Hall of Fame. You know, Mark Pruitt, I have to give a shout out to him because he was the original one of the board members that approached us at the Whiskey last year about this, and then the eyes had it. I got the letter and told the guys, and we set a mark to go, you know, Anaheim or bust.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, they were inducting Dangerous Toys and Ricky Rocket and Jeff Young, who was in Megadeth, and Dimebag, and Cannibal Corpse, and Doyle, and the singer, for her name escapes me, of Arch Enemy, singer for Arch Enemy. There was a list of folks that were being inducted that are all these badasses, and so we were a little bit like, whoa, this is like they're serious about this. And yeah, I mean, it's been around 9 years. I think it's, you know, something that is sort of tied in with NAMM, and, you know, I don't really go to NAMM. You know, it was just a nice surprise to be recognized for accolades and longevity and being a legacy band.
Yeah,
others that were inducted were the Southern California old school radio station KNAC, which was made super popular, and they played everything. They didn't just play Sunset Strip bands, you know. They didn't just play Bullet Boys. They played Slayer, and sure, they had a lot of their buddies' bands to play because they're in Southern California, but they played everybody, and they helped break the band. They helped create the buzz when the first Toys record came out. They were there, and they broke it in that market. And so, yeah, high fives and thank yous went to them. As it all went down, they were right in front of me. So
yeah.
So that was a good, just a good move. I thought, you guys are part of the reason we're fucking even here.
Oh, KNAC was huge back in the day.
We could do a Talk Louder episode just about how influential that radio station was.
You could say that radio station was a real taste maker, and then it turned into a website. I actually wrote for the website for a number of years.
I have friends that do.
Our friend Frank Meyer. Frank Meyer was a managing editor.
I think my buddy Rob McNeese writes for them.
KNAC was a big deal. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was really cool when we all heard the news that you were that Dangerous Toys was being inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame. And on today's episode, we're bringing in Budro Partida, who is the director and owner of Pennyrock Productions, which is a production company here in Austin, Texas. He's done a number of television commercials. music videos and short films, including the documentary Bloody and Bruised, The Untold Story of the Back Room, which chronicles a music venue here in Austin that was around for 30 plus years, and Dangerous Toys basically ruled that place and was discovered there. So it was really cool that Budro got to tag along with you to the Metal Hall of Fame. He tells us that he captured some footage, and we kind of got his perspective on the whole event as well. So it was really cool that he's kind of, his film has sort of, I don't know if you'd say resurrected, but it sure hasn't hurt the profile of Dangerous Toys in recent years. They're currently out on the film festival with that film festival circuit with that documentary Bloody and Bruised. But it just made sense that he went out there with you and captured it, and I'm glad he was able to join us today to sort of lend some perspective.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer to call him immediately and see if they were available to go out there with us because of the successes on the festival circuit right now with the movie, the Backroom documentary. So, you know, it's been a great, you know, it's been great being recognized by anyone. But if someone wants to give me a bowling trophy, I'll take it.
Yeah. And I know we have you on the show today, but we have to extend congratulations and thanks to Paul Idell, Mark Geary, Mike Watson, Scott Dalhoover, and some of your former Dangerous Toys members, Danny Aaron, Kevin Fowler, Tim Tremblay, a lot of other people.
They all did work and you know, took us to Anaheim.
Yeah.
We all worked our asses off to get to Anaheim, but it wouldn't really work. It was fun.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations again to you and everyone in Dangerous Toys. Dangerous Toys induction into the Metal Hall of Fame on today's Talk Louder podcast. Well, congratulations, Dangerous Toys in the Metal Hall of Fame in Anaheim, California recently. Budro Partida was there with Pennyrock Productions, local production company here in Austin, Texas, known for a lot of music videos, television commercials, short films, and the award-winning Bloody and Bruised.
Yay!
The Untold Story of the Back Room. It's a documentary about the back room. And all this ties together, of course, because Dangerous Toys was discovered and signed at the back room. So cool that you got to go out there, Budro, and check out this Metal Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But I want to start with Jason. First of all, tell me about this phone call that tells you that you're going to be inducted. How did that all go down?
The story is the last couple of years, the Toys have been going out playing the whiskey, right?
Yeah.
And, I think Pennyrock, Budro, and them came out 2 years ago, or the time before the last time. Mm-hmm. And was a great time, of course. And we still have a lot of fans out there, apparently, that, you know, we don't take for granted because we rarely ever play Southern California, much less the West Coast. We got invited to play back, you know, last year, summer of 24, and it's we're recording this today in January of 25. So a man named Mark Pruitt approaches me and was basically introduced to us. We were introduced by Tyler Heath, our everybody in this room's good buddy Tyler Heath, front man for Leather Duchess. And he's, you know, Tyler's a good dude, and everybody knows that, and he's easy to talk to. So he's a great sort of conduit for all things hard rock and heavy metal. The dude should have his own show by now. I don't know why he doesn't.
Yeah.
It could be a fashion show. It could be tips on hair products. It could be, anyway.
Muscle cars, apparently.
Well, that's his girlfriend's car, to be clear, and he'll be the first to tell you that.
Oh, he did tell me. I was
Okay,
just
good.
throwing it
Yeah,
out there.
right on.
Yeah.
That is part of this story. But Mark Pruitt approached me at that whiskey show, just barely 6 months, 4 months ago, or whatever it was, and he's on the board of directors for the Metal Hall of Fame, which has apparently been around going on a decade now. And they always tie it in with NAMM. And that's really smart because a lot of the people that you would think that they would want to induct are already going to be there. So it's convenient for them. So to have someone from Texas who, this sounds terrible, but I don't really give a shit about NAMM. It's kind of a big fuck
There
fest.
goes next year's performance.
It's just kind of, well, it's a trade show, Dave. It's
I know
just
what it is.
it's a schmooze fest.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone, including my wife's like, you should go to NAMM more often and basically telling me I need to get out and schmooze more. And it's just not really, I don't really jam, and I'm not really looking for gear, and I get it. And it's on my own dime. So, it's tough for me to get out to do stuff anyway. So this was on our own dime.
Right.
Which is, I'm complaining, but not really bitching about having to do that because they were dangling a carrot, which I think is really cool. Having Dangerous Toys inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame. And it all started with Mark Pruitt. He went to the board of directors, sat around. In my mind, it's a big round table. They're drinking out of steins. And I'm kidding. And and I don't know how many people are on the board, but all the eyes had it. He laid it out. He goes, Dangerous Toys. I say aye. And everyone, it was unanimous. So I get the official letter via email from the president, Pat. I'm going to mess up his last name. Pat Guselda. Guselda. It's like, I think it's Italian, Gueseldoa or something like that. Anyway, super nice cat. It's a nonprofit organization. They've been doing this for a long time now, and we've been inducted. And I find that out, and we find out it's on a Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, and we have to start making plans to be there. And as months went by, they were adding inductees. Like originally Doyle from the Misfits was not on that list, and Cannibal Corpse was not on that list, and there was quite a few that they added last minute.
Yeah.
But it was just, in a nutshell, and we'll get nitty gritty with it. In a nutshell, it was really fun, and it was no surprise that I had some friends in attendance who were either doing little jams, cover song jams in and between and after, and sandwich between these all-star jams. And, Mark Lopes from Metal Church, Ross the Boss was there that I just did a video with. And there was all these great things. And there's a lot of photographs that I've uploaded. A lot of them thank you to Pennyrock Productions and Budro and the boys, because they were there to document it. Here's something that I'm not forgetting. I just might as well say it now, so you guys can get in a word. Is that pretty much right when I got the official letter, I was like, well, it's NAMM, but I'm not really expecting a Texan contingency to be able to come out there and sort of enjoy this and celebrate this moment with us, And I just said, what? It was really on a whim. I didn't have a big plan. I didn't know what Budro would say, but I called Budro and I was like, hey, you're like one, not really. The world doesn't know this yet, right?
Right.
But the Toys just got inducted. Have you ever heard of the Metal Hall of Fame? And I didn't think that you had.
Yeah.
And I basically just put an open invite to Budro and his guys to see if they would want to come out. And I didn't really have full agenda on if they'd be interested, because it's pay your own way. We got to sneak some cameras in, in order to just kind of document this.
Yeah.
Kind of on the heels of that, you guys had started seeing some successes on the film festival circuit at that time, and I thought, well, I don't know, maybe he would want to tie this in, and it was kind of like, it's here if you want to. We would love nothing more than to have you sort of piggyback us through this whole thing, and so I called Budro, and luckily you accepted.
Yeah. I mean, you actually had called me as we were leaving, I believe, the world premiere in San Antonio.
Oh, that's right.
Like the Sunday as we were leaving, and it's
The world premiere of
Bloody and Bruised.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had, just left. We were in the middle of leaving the hotel when he called, and I think the conversation went like, my wife's like, who is it? It's Jason. Like, hold on, yeah. And, what? Okay. And it pretty much went like this, like, okay, Metal Hall of Fame, January. Hey, Jason wants me to go to the Metal Hall of Fame. How's that sound? She said, yes, do it. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it.
Your manager said you got to go do it.
I was booked. And right. So next thing you know, I talked to John and I talked to Adam and we booked the flights, and it was, I was beyond elated to even be asked to do this because I wasn't reluctant. I was like, I can't really do anything, but I felt compelled that you should know about it because of what you had done with Bloody and Bruised and the things that were happening, and this kind of stuff. We're not getting younger, and this sort of these relevant things that are still happening to us as a hard rock heavy metal scene in Central Texas is vital to our legacy, not just mine, our legacy as a scene in South Texas, and to the mortality and or should I say the immortality of why we're here. And
so this does dovetail nicely into the Bloody and Bruised documentary, and the timing on all this couldn't have been better. By the way, I know the name Mark Pruitt because he watches our show and he comments all the time on social media. So hello, Mark, and thank you for the nomination.
Great guy, and obviously we have become friends.
Yeah. So Budro, you accept this invite. You go out there. What are you doing at the induction ceremony? Are you capturing this on video? And what's your mission as you go out there? Well,
my main thing was on the weeks leading up to this event. I'm thinking, well, what is this going to be? Like, what is this? What are we capturing? Because
let me jump in and go, because we didn't even know.
Yeah, because
it was kind of run a little bit loose, just so everyone knows. It's pretty loose.
And so, I just figured, let me just shoot what I can. I know I definitely want to talk to the guys before the ceremony. And so, the guys arrived. We were actually, myself and my crew, John and Adam, we were staying at the same hotel that Jason and Paul were staying at. And we were actually catty corner across the street from the actual venue. NAMM is happening down the street, down some ways. So, but we were right there. And the rest of the band was at a different hotel not too far away. So right away, as soon as they arrived, we went to their hotel room, shot some interviews with the guys. And I said, this is great. And then we went and shot interviews with the rest of the band, Mike, Mark, and Scotty. Got their thoughts, got that in the can. And then once it was time to head down to the venue, we just started rolling cameras and walking down to the venue. And it was kind of cool, walking down California, street, and it's nice and cool weather and everything, and the palm trees are blowing, and it's a nice evening. And then we see the venue, and they have the red carpet laid out, the red carpet, area outside the venue. And we had already scouted, my team and I had already scouted the location before. So we got a lay of the land as far as the theater, where our credentials, all that stuff. And let me tell you, I've shot a million red carpets, South by, movie premieres, everything. This was by far the most rambunctious and I guess chaotic red carpet.
Well, there was nothing was roped off. There was not a, you enter here, you do your thing, press will be on this side of the rope, then you go through and the next motherfucker comes. That did not exist.
It was just the step and repeat, and a couple of people.
It was a mosh pit in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It was a mosh pit in the parking lot.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, because Jason and the guys and us, we were the first, I guess, people to kind of arrive. And so people are like, wait, who are those guys? And they see cameras. So, wait, is that Dangerous Toys? And then all of a sudden, it got a little bit hectic. And what's cool is that Tim Heine was there. And we had been talking about how we wanted to speak with Tim, and he just happened to be waiting for us right next to the red carpet area. So we were kind of off from the red carpet, but so the entire all the photographers and video people were kind of stepping away from the red carpet area and shooting against this brick wall that we had kind of just taken over.
By the way, I'm sorry, before you get too deep, Tim Heine is instrumental in the successes of Dangerous Toys. He was, by way of received the cassette tape. You know what I mean? You know how when you're in a band, your demos go out, and then if somebody liked it, they call you and want to do something for you. Basically, in a nutshell, Tim Heine, nothing would have happened without him there. Anyway, he lives 3 hours away in Thousand Oaks, and he drove down for the event. And, he's an older gent now, still looking pretty good and gets around well, but came down. And I was excited for these guys, Pennyrock, to talk to him because his name is dropped a million times by the Toys guys in the movie. Yeah. Or at least by me in the movie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So was Tim your manager at one point? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
In all of the big years, he got us the deal on Columbia. He was there working on the mergers. He was there all the way through the artist formerly known as. And,
okay.
So up until about 95, he was pretty much overseeing everything.
Okay.
So it's really great that he was there, and not to get too far down the story here at the campfire, but Tim was there, invited by us, of course, to bring us on. You know what I mean? To introduce the band on the stage to accept the induction. So that was the plan.
So hold that thought. I want to get back to Budro with the mosh pit on the red carpet, but I do want to get to the actual induction because whole thing was hosted by Eddie Trunk, correct?
We've got so many stories to tell you before we even get to us entering the stage.
So Budro, back to you. You were, kind of got crazy there, a little bit hectic. And then where were you going with that?
He's about to talk to Tim Heine.
Yeah. We were talking. So we stuck a camera in Tim's face, and he kind of just started, telling a little bit of the backstory. And then he tells us a little bit about his history with the band. Meanwhile, Jason's being dragged in another direction to do a couple radio interviews and other TV interviews, photographers, and then the rest of the guys are being interviewed on the actual step and repeat area. And then at one point there was a car crash that happened not too far away from us. Did you see that?
Two of them.
Two of them.
Yeah, there was one right out front, and what they were doing, Dave, is they were rubbernecking. What the hell are all the bam?
Oh.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happened around to the end of that brick with the famous brick wall we were talking about. There was a little like douche that was loud enough of a crack that everyone was like, oh, and people actually ran over. So a couple of rubbernecking crashes there happening. That were all our fault.
And next thing you know, we're just in a sea of like people of like leather jackets and hairspray and cigarette smoke and just cameras and people just cell phones. People are and keep in mind, there's people that are working from the event there trying to like, oh, hey, we're also trying to raise money for, the fires and everything like that, which is another component of this whole thing, is that they're trying to raise money for victims and families of the LA fires. And so, it was kind of chaotic. And I know at one point there was a dude that was asking, for autographs, and I think he asked Jason to sign like 50 million 8x10 glossies or something like that.
That's always part of those kind of events. Not that I go to 100 of them a year or anything, but those are usually part of it.
Yeah, but it was a pretty fun. It was a pretty, like I said, it was a pretty nice, fun, chaotic scene. And as the, since the Dangerous Toys were kind of one of the first ones there, little by little, they were kind of inching towards the entrance as other people were arriving. And it wasn't like people are arriving in limos and stuff. They're literally just walking up out of the parking lot.
Yeah, Burton C. Bell and Eddie Trunk, and, there were people there that were obviously part of something that I didn't even know what they look like. Her name escapes me at the moment, but the singer for Arch Enemy, she was being inducted. She could have walked up and I wouldn't have even known, wow, who's this lady dressed to the nines? That was probably her. Who knows? So there's just
she's Doyle's girlfriend, right?
Oh, that makes sense. So everyone's just all coming up, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Piranhas eating a cow in the lake right there in the parking lot by the front door.
Yeah, and we're not even in the front door yet.
No.
So
this went on for an hour. So.
What's the plan with this footage you captured, Budro?
Well,
is it too early to tell, or is there a game plan, or is this not something you want to reveal yet? Or
no. I mean, I think ultimately, and Jason asked me the same thing, and I think this would make a great 30-minute short doc, and that maybe we could release online. But ultimately, what I think might also be kind of cool is that this would be a great special feature for the Bloody and Bruised DVD.
Like that.
If there's ever one, supposedly pressed. It depends, but definitely, I mean, this is something that's historic in the not only for the band, but for the Austin music scene. And it's something that I think is going to be really cool to kind of just put together and have fun with. It's not, this isn't a stuffy, at least to me, it doesn't feel like a stuffy, like, this is how it needs to be documented. This is like, no, man, this is rock and roll at its finest, of like, all these people coming up, and basically a lot of them are trying to crash the inside of the party of this induction ceremony because people were trying to get in, and little by little they were like, wait, we have to pay tickets? We have to buy tickets to this? Like, because this was like $50 a head to get in, right? And so we actually had some friends show up here, Skunk Manhattan. He actually showed up. He was there from NAMM, actually, but he actually walked all the way from the convention center, and him and his guitar player, Tim, bought tickets and went inside. And then another backroom alumni, Carlos Cruz, from, I believe, Rockline. Is Rockline?
That's right.
He was there. And so we actually ran into a couple people. And so, man, I mean, after about an hour of chaos out in the parking lot, everybody goes inside, and you walk through another, like, they had a smaller venue between the bigger venue. And so everybody's kind of like, where are we going and what's happening? And that was for another stage or another set that was happening the next night. I think they had LA Guns and the Iron Maidens playing. I think they play tonight, actually.
Yeah, they're playing tonight.
Yeah. And then so
LA Guns is tonight, and I think that Iron Maidens is tomorrow.
Yeah. And then so you know, we ended up going backstage. We went to the, you know, and I'm just following the guys with the cameras. My guys are following there. And John Jew, you know, Pennyrock Productions, John Jew is kind of acting as a Dangerous Toys road manager at this point, and he's telling us where to go, and he's navigating the band and doing all the passes, and you know, telling us
he needs a hug.
Yeah.
he was roping it all together for us once we got in, because it was fairly easy for us to get separated once we got officially into the building. But then after that, it was kind of, we were stuck and didn't know where to go, because what they had told John didn't pan out, because there's no reserve seating anywhere. It was just a free for all. And those free for alls, although can be kind of cool, if you're running an award show with a day sheet, like a scheduled time allotted, there was one of those, but no one in the band had one of those, but Pennyrock did. So Budro and John are paying much mind to that. At some point, Tim Heine, I believe, got maybe a little nervous and he just kicked into manager mode, and he knows Eddie Trunk. And he went straight to Eddie and was like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And Eddie was like, "Oh, well, you're on at 9. Okay, yeah, we know that, but this is run like, you know, crazy people." And he's like, "Just be over here at 8:45 or 10 till, and we'll just stand right here and I'll bring you up." Oh, okay, cool. Right. No problem. Thanks, Eddie. And that was all we needed to really know. After that, we could fuck off and do whatever we wanted, and we did. And, you know, I got to meet people that were just walking by. One of them being, I want to throw this out there, was Brian Liu. And Brian Liu is one of the few masterminds behind Murder in the Front Row.
Yes.
The documentary, the hardback book. Him and
documentary on the Bay Area thrash scene.
Yeah, Bay Area thrash, Exodus, right. Testament, Metallica, Slayer, anything that happened in the Bay Area thrash movement in the early to mid '80s. These guys were part of it. Brian Liu, Harold Oyman, and Ron Quintana, and then just all the bands, right? Well, Brian Liu is walking back and forth, you know, 2 inches from my nose, and I'm like, "Brian, I've always wanted to meet Brian Liu." I got to meet Brian Liu and actually hang out with him. And there's pictures going to be in our intro, and you'll see me with Brian Liu. And I covet that photo now, because he's one of those legendary guys that's just like a metal nerd. He had a fanzine. He had a point and shoot camera, just like Harold Oyman. Yeah, and he documented all that Bay Area thrash metal scene with Harry O. Equally, right? Yeah. And he was so sweet, and he was there working now. But of course, he was invited there because he had friends there and wanted to check it out. And I just told him, I go, "Dude, it is such an honor." And he was just like, "Wow, this guy's really emotionally excited to meet me." And I'm like, he could tell that I was like, "Oh my God, dude, you are part of the reason that this kind of shit is that metal got heavier and heavy and fast thrash music became household, became popular." And I was trying to convey that in my stumbling words. And he got it. And then once I calmed down, so to speak, we had a great chat. Becky Baldwin, the bass player from Merciful Fate, was walking around, and Becky, please take a photo with me. It's all I need. Thank you so much. Stuff like that was going on at 1,000 miles an hour all the way everywhere. Mark Lopes from Metal Church was there. Mm-hmm. He got to hang out with these guys, which I thought was great.
Right.
He was performing that night. I ran into Bobby Blitz from Overkill. I met Johnny Zazula's niece.
Was Overkill being inducted, or was he just
He's part of the Metal Alliance band. You know, the band Metal Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah, he's part of that.
All right.
So he was there to do that, right?
Yeah.
And whether he had a NAMM badge or not, he was in on the festivities for that. He wasn't at the induction ceremony, but let's see who else was. I'm just saying cats I ran into.
So on that topic, Budro, did you get to meet Doyle? Because I know you're the hugest Misfits fan.
Doyle did not appear. He actually, I believe it was his girlfriend or his wife that ended up accepting the award on his behalf. But I believe Doyle was right before you guys, right? Was it Doyle or Kanak? One of those.
I think it was KNAC, then Doyle, then us.
Yeah, and then so I was on. So we were kind of like off to the back of the stage, about to walk up, and they're talking about Doyle. I'm like, is he here? Is he here? And no, his girlfriend walked up. I was like, oh man, but it's fine. But it was kind of cool. And the way that I ended up shooting everything was I had a microphone on the camera that was kind of picking up all the natural sound. But then on the camera as well, I also had a microphone, a wireless lav mic on Jason, so I could hear him speak, and so we could always hear him.
They could hear me. They could hear me taking a piss.
Yeah, exactly.
They could hear me anywhere I went.
You were on a hot mic all night.
All night. They heard. They probably heard me talking about politics. They probably heard me.
So, we ended up going up on stage, and they're getting ready to announce him, and so Eddie Trunk brings up Tim, and then Tim goes up along with the guys, and I just followed him up on stage. And what's funny is, when we had gone earlier in the day to kind of scout the location and get a lay of the land and see where we're going to be allowed and not allowed and all that stuff, at the time they were like, oh yeah, we know about you guys. You're great. You're good to go. Here are your badges. Everything's good. Well, right before the ceremony starts, they say, by the way, you can't shoot anything other than dangerous toys. And so I was like, well, that's fine. I guess you just made our job a lot easier, really, to be honest. Right. But we did get footage of Eddie Trunk speaking and Tim speaking. And then I just followed the guys out on stage. And I said, fuck it. I'm just going to go out there. What are they going to do? Pull me away? And so.
No, because they knew that you were going to be there. It was one of the first, once we realized who was going to saddle up and be there with us, I made sure that my contacts with the Hall of Fame understood that you guys were coming, and they had all your names written down, and they knew that you were going to be there. So, yeah, that's good. The fact that they, I have to be honest, the fact that they came and said, but you're limited only to footage of your guys, and that to me that's I was like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
But, I didn't invite you so you could shoot, cars having wrecks in the street, but it's more, I understand that it would have been great to have the B-roll of some other events happening there in and out before us. And so you'd have some kind of a thing. And I feel like maybe you can answer me this. I feel like maybe you got plenty, actually.
We got plenty between the interviews and all the footage that was there, between 3 cameras rolling, actually, if you count John's cell phone. Yeah. I mean, we've got, a good couple hours worth of footage. Yeah. To make a little, short documentary kind of thing. So by all means, it was great to just be there and experience it, and just to capture some of it. And it's a nice venue. They had, I think the capacity was like 500 people. It was a nice big room, and they actually had, like Jason said, they had lots of music acts between some of the inductions.
It's a theater, the Grand Theater in Anaheim. And it has seating like a theater, but it's interesting because the seats are in these very wide deep rows. Did you notice that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like, excuse me, walking through a movie theater seat row. You know what I mean? It was wide. Like, there was leg room in every row. So I don't know what the exact capacity was, but it was a super nice venue.
When they call you up, is there like a photo montage behind you? Is there any sort of visual accompaniment to your induction ceremony, or
no?
You guys...
There's photo ops and banners that, you know, have the Metal Hall of Fame logo set up in strategic places for photo ops and things like that. But
right. But they're not showing like a career retrospective in the background.
No, on the stage, it's not. It's not the Grammys. It is. You know, it is. It's a little more subtle,
low key. So does Eddie Trunk say anything about toys, or does he just introduce Tim and then Tim introduces Dangerous Toys, or who introduced you and what was said leading to you walking up on stage?
The way that it was hard to hear, and we were all sort of like gathered stage right, and there was probably 20 other people just were kind of like huddled over their stage right, and there were cameras, and you know, I mean, like when KNAC was inducted, you know, just a couple of names before us, they had like 15 people walk out on stage all together. It wasn't like the old manager of the program director of the station just walk out there. It was like this horde that walked out there, and William Howell was one of them. DJ Will, because he's part of that team. So
right.
We had friends there, and even it was hard to hear what was said center stage because there was no side fills. There wasn't any real monitoring going on either that deep into the wings of the stage. The stage was huge. It was a pro theater stage. And so echoey, right? Hard to really make out. So you can't really hear. I don't recall, in answer to your question, I don't recall if Eddie Trunk said anything overly meaningful, you know, about the toys or about us, but he did mention Tim, and he knows Tim. I think Tim used to be in radio, and Budro can back me up. Tim has this big bellowing voice, and he's very commanding when he talks, and he doesn't stutter, and he's this big guy anyway. And so he used to do radio. I think he has a degree in that, you know, journalism and things in college. And so that's probably something that him and Eddie have in common as well, and probably have talked about that late nights over shots. So do you and the toys have a speech prepared, or what kind of comments were made on the mic? What'd you tell the audience? You know, it's not in my book. It's just, this is my opinion, you know, to break out a piece of paper and read off a list of shit that's not how I roll, and you guys know that. Right. It was more real impromptu and chill. Jeff Young, who did a Megadeth record, he was inducted. He sat on the edge of the stage and just talked to people like he was at the campfire. He sat down on the stage and just like, you know, like a Grateful Dead moment, you know, which I thought was really cool. But it did seem like he was out there for 5 minutes. So did each of the guys... Did each of the toys speak, or just one or two? The photos that you may or may not have seen, when you see Tim at the mic and then you see me at the mic, that was it. Because they were like, you got 30 seconds. Okay, Jason, you can have 30 seconds. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we were up there a minute. Oh. Yeah, maybe. Wow.
I recorded the whole thing from start to finish, and the whole speech is going to be in the short documentary.
Yeah, and remember Budro's got me mic'd up, and then I'm standing as close to Tim as I can without hugging on him, in hopes that they can crank my mic up while Tim's talking, so they can get some of Tim. And that was kind of, it was like guerrilla movie making.
It was very renegade style.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I love that. I love that you
Me too. I
put
thought
it that way, because that's based on what Budro's saying and what you're saying. It sounds like it's organized chaos with emphasis on the chaos and maybe not so much emphasis on the organized.
Well, and here's the
to
deal.
a degree, but
I'm glad you said that. It's not dogging out the production team that's putting this induction ceremony
it's just
on.
loosey-goosey rock and roll.
But I will tell you this, and this is fine. This is okay. I'm not dogging anybody out here, but I heard the next day when I was at NAMM, I heard from, because some of the people that were running the show, I've known for 35 years. There was a couple of people I didn't even get to say hello to at the ceremony, because when I saw them, it was like they were just running. You know, they were just buzzing by me, and I was like, "Oh, there's Muncie Ritchie. I know him. And, you know, I can't stop him." And so I'm at Dave Ellefson's booth at NAMM yesterday, and there's Muncie, and we're just drinking Ellefson brand coffee, which is very good, by the way. Me and Paul Idell drinking coffee at Dave Ellefson's booth. Ellefson's over there signing stuff, and Muncie's like, "Jason," I go, "Dude, I didn't want to stop your flow last night. You were busy, but I'm glad that you're here so I can say hello to you 30 years later, you know."
Yeah.
Muncie Ritchie runs skateboard marketing. They do radio promotionals for any new record or single that's coming out. And he's been doing it like for 45 years or some shit.
Yeah.
And he's super fucking good. Anyway, he knows everybody involved in him. And there's someone else involved that they ran the show, and it was like way better, apparently, from what I've heard, because I've never been to one of these before. That it was even better than you think. And even though you think about me and Budro's experience, it sounds like pretty chaotic and loosey-goosey and everything. Supposedly, this was the most organized so far.
Well, I kind of like that.
I'm okay with it. And so next year, I think it's going to be even more of a fun, easygoing time because of the things that they learn every year. You got to have a crew. You got to have a crew up there.
So for people listening, just to be clear, Dangerous Toys didn't perform. No. You guys didn't play music or anything. Did you do any?
But if I had a dime for everyone that you're not playing, or are you guys going to play? Even Brian Liu, are you playing?
Oh yeah.
Everybody wished that we were playing.
I got that on camera multiple times.
Yeah.
That they're like, "Are you playing tonight?"
Well, you know what? That might be a cool, not to tell you how to edit this together to make it fun, but maybe you compile all of those. Hey, are you guys playing? No, we're not playing.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, are you playing? No, we're not playing. Hey, are you playing? Hey, are you playing? No, not playing. No, that might be cool.
Budro, what's the highlight for you in all this? I know it's kind of probably a blur, and you're working the whole time, and so, but I'm sure you're taking in some of it. What to you is the standout moment of the whole Toys being inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame experience?
I mean, I think just the aura of being there amongst so many rock people that, I think Ricky Rocket was being inducted as well, but I never saw him.
He wasn't there because he had to evacuate due to the wildfire.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
That happened last minute. Yeah.
So we were like, that was just, I think just the feeling and the presence of, man, there's all these rock people here. It's really cool. When we're backstage, we have the access, unlike, our little badges had all access on it and stuff. And, we're getting handed merch by merch girls and all this other stuff. And it was great. And it was just kind of like, I'm used to that run and gun lifestyle of having a camera and running around a show. So it was very familiar to me. But I will say that one quick highlight post ceremony was towards the end, we all left, the venue, Jason and I think it was, Jason and Tyler, and my guys, we all walked back to the hotel. And after that, my guys were hungry. We hadn't eaten. And so I was like, well, let's, I'm going to go take them down the street for some tacos after the ceremony. We walked back to this taco place. And on the way back, we're passing the theater. And it's now, the venue's closing down. It's kind of shutting down. You can tell there's people outside, a couple stragglers, having a smoke here and there. And then out of nowhere, I hear one of my guys say, "Hey, there's Paul." And Paul's there, you know, hopping around. I just see him like, you know, from the back of his head, like he's talking to people, and hey, Paul's leaving. Like, and we're walking down the street and we're like, hey, Paul, and he can't hear us. He crosses the street. And so like, well, all right, well, I guess we're both heading back towards the hotel. And we were walking down the block, and Paul beat us to the hotel by a good, you know, 200, 300 feet. And we just see his like big mane of curly hair bouncing down the street and down the, and he's like, Paul, he doesn't hear us. He's going inside, and he took off. So it was, you know, Paul stayed there till the very bitter end, hung out, partied with everybody. But, you know, after shooting for so many hours, you know, we were tired. It was a fun, eventful night, you know, very celebratory and great, you know, but we were ready to call it a night come. It was over. And so it was great, though.
To give a little bit of insight, it's a possibility that, I'm not saying Paul was ignoring you, but Paul was on a mission. And here's how I might interject and say that I feel like he's on a mission. And this will make sense as to maybe he heard you, maybe he did not hear you, or maybe he was trying to hurry back to the hotel for a reason.
Mm.
And that reason possibly could have been that me and Paul had NAM badges. Our morning was all around wake up, 7 a.m., get breakfast in us, and go to NAM and roll around NAM. Before I forget, Anthony Corder, we hung out with Anthony Corder. I got a picture of me and Anthony Corder with Mark Lopes. Carlos, who sings for Immortal Guardian, was there hanging around. He was right there when you guys were really chumming it up with Mark Lopes. Carlos was there, and me and Carlos go way back. And we talked about Gilbert, who played keyboards on the new Igniter record, because, you know, and he was, you know, we were just reminiscing and catching up. And there was a lot of that kind of a thing going on. And the photos will portray that quite a bit. The photo montage, which I hope Jared will, you know, go back and forth to as we tell the story here today. But so we had, you know, me and Paul packed light, right? And I guess I packed lighter than Paul. So when you go into NAM, they let you take your backpack in, sure. And, you know, they have, you know, just like the airport, big old security metal detector. They make you open your bag and look inside, and they wand you, the whole nine, right? So I've got my backpack, no problem, backpack, no problem. I lugged it around all day, no problem. Well, Tyler had been our heavy metal Uber all fucking day, the whole trip. He was our heavy metal Uber, and I owe him, you know, a big old hamburger or something. Anyway, he was ready to go, and this is, you know, midnight, right? Gig's over, right?
Yeah.
And I'm texting Paul, and he's not answering. And I'm calling Paul. I'm texting him, okay, you got to call me, because Tyler's got to drive an hour back to Glendale so he can come pick us up at NAM the next day and get us to the airport to catch our flight. And we ended up having plenty of time. But the point is he's been running and gunning with everybody, and helping everybody get stuff done all fucking day.
Yeah.
It's midnight. He's got to go. And I'm trying to give him the rest of the night off. But I'm looking over there at Paul's suitcase and his backpack, and I'm going, is Paul? I'm looking at Tyler, and Tyler's looking at me, and is Paul going to drag that roly-poly and his backpack all over NAM tomorrow? I don't fucking think he's going to enjoy that. But before I tell you to put it in your car and just leave it in the car overnight, since he's taking us to the airport, you get me? I'm tour managing. I'm managing the situation. I'm going, hey, Paul, you need to call me. He's not calling me. You know, I call him. He answers. And I say, hey, Tyler wants to go home. Oh, yeah, well, what's the deal? I go, are you going to roll? Are you going to pull your your suitcases and shit all over NAMM show tomorrow. Oh fuck. So that
he was in a hurry to downsize.
that hopping and so Tyler could go home. So that I can now I'm seeing this cartoon video in my head of Pennyrock Productions dudes going, Paul, and he's going, oh shit, I gotta jaywalk and oh shit, I gotta get back so I can get all my shit consolidated and just what I need to wear during the day and get it to Tyler. So you know. I wasn't trying to make Paul feel bad because Tyler's tired. You know, I'm trying to manage it so, you know, everything is smooth, right? So, yeah, little things like that. That's probably just what you saw about, dude, he could have been hearing you guys go, Paul, but he had me on the phone going, hey, man.
He was on a mission.
So you're comfortable tomorrow. Let's get your stuff in the car. Right.
Yeah.
So where does this rank in? I mean, obviously, Dangerous Toys has had a lot of career highlights. A lot of people watching this show and listening to the show are familiar with the tours and the Gold Album, and you know, some of your opportunities to brush elbows with people that you admire throughout your life. This is a pretty big honor, man. I mean, the Metal Hall of Fame, that's pretty darn cool. And I know, you know, living here in Austin, there was a lot of chatter on social media. Everybody here is so proud of you guys because we're all friends with you. We grew up with you. You've been sort of the champion of hard rock and heavy metal for this area, for this region, and definitely for this city, and for the club that Budro is documenting in Bloody and Bruised. I know you probably can't put it on a hierarchy, but this had to be a pretty special feeling for you and the guys. Is there any chatter on the plane on your way there or on the way home or after the fact where you guys are like, man, I can't believe we've added this to our list of things that we've accomplished?
You're leading up to the, you know, you're saying all of the right things and all of those things I don't take any of it. And me and the toy, I'll speak for the toys. We don't take any of that shit for granted. Okay. We grew up, you know, we're lower middle class or worse. You know, we came up just normal punk ass kids that didn't have a lot. And we fell in love with rock and roll, and we lived our lives around our guitars and our rock and roll, playing songs in the garage and Black Sabbath, just like everybody else. Right. Mm-hmm. So it kind of, that sort of sets up the fact that, oh shit, you know, someone wants to recognize us for just doing what we normally would be doing anyway, just playing rock and roll because it's our lifeline and it makes us feel like we're flying when we sing and play and write songs and perform, you know, just do what we're going to do anyway. Yeah. So, you know, we got gold records, and we got, we're big fish in our little pond here in Austin. You know, the Austin Music Awards has recognized us and me, and, you know, I'm in there 3 times. So it's like Austin is, we all are happy to be, all 3 of us in this room are happy with Austin and how it has treated us as Austinites and recognized us in any way possible. And I remember in Austin that, you know, heavy metal kids weren't really allowed to be written about in the Chronicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that,
not a metal town.
Right. And well, now it's because of the popularity of what it is that all of us are sort of here doing and championing all the time, because it's just who we are. Now it's different. You know, I'm not saying anything about anyone's local rag, just not, you know, entertainment magazine, if you will, not, you know, gatekeeping or anything. And I want to say the Chronicle has never been a gatekeeper. It just wasn't something that their searching out to, hey, let's talk about these heavy metal kids that are, doing stuff, because they were glad to write about the toys when the toys started to pop up, right?
Yeah.
And they always had somebody to send out who might have been an intern, might have been a college student, to write about Watchtower when Watchtower was doing stuff at the Ritz and starting to draw big crowds. And anyway, but this is not off subject as to what you're asking me. This is all part of the whole thing. So when I sort of put it up there with, the old bowling trophies, right? Here's another bowling trophy, right? It's equal to anything. To me, and this sounds crazy, but to me, it's right there next to, the gold records are bowling trophies.
Yeah.
I put them right, and I'm not my attempt to be humble is just as any other attempt to be humble. It's just another bowling trophy, but it's also a star to look up to.
Yeah.
To me,
exactly.
to go, wow, People's Choice, someone saw this and went, the toys dudes need one of these. I'm going to vote for them, and I'm going to go to my group of constituents, and I'm going to see if everyone else at this meeting, at this round table, feels the same. And they did.
That's what I'm getting at, because we're all very aware of the legacy of Dangerous Toys here in Austin, and even in Central Texas, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Houston, Dallas. The whole state knows Dangerous Toys.
Sure.
But that's what I was getting at. I think it's really cool that a broader audience of your peers bestowed this award on you guys. I mean, it's easy for us, that grow up with you and live with you and see you at the local club to go, these guys are deserving, these guys are great. But for an audience that doesn't see that on a daily basis, and let's face it, in this day and age, in 2025, you're not on the radio, you're not on MTV anymore. So for somebody to go, oh yeah, remember Dangerous Toys?
This is exactly something that Mark Pruitt brought up day one last year when he approached me. He was like, not many people have all original members can still pack the whiskey 35 years later.
Yeah.
He was saying shit like that, and I'm going, damn. He's putting the pressure on as to why we he was making me. He was trying to say you're deserving, and I'm not going to argue because it's on him to, he's like, I'm on a mission. I'll be in touch. He went and talked to his round table of people. I got the induction letter. I'm beside myself. This was also somewhat of a global event in my eyes, because there's people all over the world sending congratulatory postings and emails and things like that.
Yeah.
So, the people that are not going to fly over from Europe to go, dude, cool, that was a minute-long speech.
Yeah.
It's over now. They're not going to do that. It was streaming online, though.
Yeah.
They did put it streaming, and I don't know how entertaining that was, because I don't know.
So let me ask you this, because you've always given credit where credit is due. Do you know? Are you aware? Was there any outreach to Tim Tremblay, Danny Aaron, Kevin Fowler, even Michael Hannon?
I wanna do that here now, and because I do it in other capacities when I can.
That's why,
There wasn't really time for me to take out, the piece of paper, the scroll, and read all the people that I feel are just as deserving as we are that helped build this thing called Dangerous Toys.
Right.
And it was Kevin Fowler, and it was, Danny Aaron, and last but not least, certainly was Tim Tremblay, who wrote the fucking hit song.
Yeah.
He wrote the lyrics for Tease and Please and an Outlaw on the first record, as well as, contributed to how the band started to sound and shape before we got signed, before anything was starting to happen. And, there's some guilt, and there's some things that will probably be in my book one day about that. But his name should have been said up there, and, he was part of the whole reason why this stuff happened, and it's important. But you know, not to dog anybody who's a member of Dangerous Toys, which is a small club, because like I say, I call Paul original.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there forever.
Been 30 years. He's been in the band 30 fucking years. He did the work.
Yeah,
he did the work
for sure.
And you know what? He's such a good dude, and you guys know this, and everybody who knows Paul fucking knows how good of a dude Paul is. He'll tell you how deserving Tim Tremblay and even Kevin Fowler and Danny Aaron are. Yeah. He will tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up their names because
I'm glad you did.
You always give credit where credit is due.
That's right.
And I know those guys helped build the legacy of Dangerous Toys.
Everybody worked hard in their own way to help create this, and you know, we all should be, when Dangerous Toys shows up and as being recognized for things like this, those names are included in my brain and in my heart. Those names are equal. So, my favorite quote, and I'm not necessarily ending this chat when I say this, but my favorite quote, and Budro's smiling already. He already knows what I'm going to say because I said it, you know, with cameras rolling. And I reminded Mark that Mark said this, Mark Geary's quote, when I initially texted everybody to tell them, you're not going to believe this horse shit, right? And I'm texting everybody going, we have been inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame. You know, it's not the Grammys or whatever, but it's this thing that they've been doing for a decade in LA and da-da-da, and it's legit, and they give away trophies, and it's a fucking celebration that's tied in with NAMM, and people, they're just waiting bated breath, you know, after. And I said, you don't really need to flood me with any questions because I'm just vomiting it all over you now, answering as many questions as that you might have. And Mark came back, and it was the winner of the, you know, Mike Watson could have been, wow, that's fucking cool. That was Mike Watson. But Mark Geary's thing, he said, wow, ... from my kitchen to the Metal Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
and if you know where that sort of Mark Geary quote comes from, it's completely legit, to the fact that when I first walked into where Dangerous Toys, or what would become Dangerous Toys, would rehearse, you walk into Mark's rental house in South Austin and you go down this hallway. If you stop at the end of the hallway, that's where my vocal monitor sat, and that's where I stood, is right there at the end of the hallway, sort of backed up in the hallway, because I'm not getting blown away by Marshall Stacks standing back there in the hallway with a vocal monitor. Off to the left in the what would be the dining room with a banister around it, which step down living room, you know, it looks over into the living room with the TV and shit. And then the kitchen would be right here on the other side of the wall. I'm standing in the hallway. We're in the fucking kitchen. We're pretty much in the fucking kitchen. So that's where that comes from. You know, and if just to finish the photograph, the painting for you, it's like once you look from the drum kit down into the living room, it's like Marshall Stack, bass rig, TV set, Marshall Stack, microphone stand. And Mark and Susan Geary lived like that all the time, with basically, you know, the set to "We're Not Gonna Take It" in their fucking living room all the time, and bless their hearts. I mean, you know, see what I mean? It takes a village. Yeah. It took a village.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. Yeah. I mean, you guys, a bunch of, you know, Texas punks and rock and roll nerds, and you know, all these years later, for a broader audience to acknowledge you and recognize you, that speaks volumes. That says a lot. So I'm really proud of you guys. I'm happy for you. I think it's just incredible that a band that came out of Austin, Texas, and honestly, you know, you guys are still active, you still play, but like I said, the radio play is long gone. The MTV videos are long gone. But in 2025, 2024, actually, somebody sat around a table and you go, you know who's worthy of this? Who agrees? Dangerous Toys, and they all said yes.
Yeah, that's right. I want to say that not for sake of argument even, but, and you know me, that I'm very analog and very Jurassic. It's true, and you know this. I'm listening to, digital is like compact disc for me.
Right.
That's it. Right. So, it's interesting to be alive in this new age, and has a lot to do with, like you said, still active, but you're saying there's not really any radio. We're classic rock now. So,
right.
But satellite radio still plays this shit out of Dangerous Toys.
This is true. This is true.
And there's all these different names of different platforms. Whatever you like banana, you like vanilla, you like chocolate, you like strawberry, whatever it is, you can pick and choose whichever platform you want because they play that song or they play that song.
Yes.
And whatever the program director says goes, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So we're still alive. We're still, well, you know what I mean.
The reason I don't know this is because I'm also in the Stone Age.
Oh yeah.
I don't even listen to radio. I don't have a subscription service. I still put CDs in my car, so I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But I know from friends posting on social media, friends on social media will post their stereo and it'll say teasing and pleasing now on the Boneyard or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like,
great.
Why?
It is
it's
still
on.
Being played.
Yeah, it's like, when they do that, I used to think, wow, that's on their TV set. They're listening to music on their TV set. Well, it turns out that they don't have an old clunker like me. They have a screen in their fucking car that's got readouts all over it. God damn.
Right. Right.
But also, I was going to say, as far as like video programming and shows similar to podcasting and things like that, people are ripping the videos. People are watching old videos. Bands still make videos. Whether there is really an audience for music videos, says a guy who still makes videos and has one of his video producers in this Zoom room as we speak.
Which is a great video, by the way.
It is a killer video, and I think it's just under 5,000 views right now, and it's only been out since late November, so pretty happy.
Yeah, we're talking about Igniter.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But still, the toys videos still get some play, and satellite. The digital world is a thing that we don't really talk a whole lot about as far as like music fans, because
I need to keep that in mind because I'm so stuck in the Stone Age. I mean, like I said, I still put CDs in my car, but you're right. You're absolutely right. People are subscribing to these radio subscription services, and people are listening to Dangerous Toys all day long, all over the country.
It's a thing.
And you're right about the YouTube and the videos too. So I guess I'm in my head, if it's not, on the FM radio in every city in America, it's not happening anymore. But all that has kind of gone the way of the dodo bird. And the new thing is the, Sirius and Boneyard and Hair Nation or whatever all these channels are called.
Well, just satellite radio is a good way
satellite
to throw
radio.
It all in a bowl. Right. I have a funny thing. I saw Broken Teeth is playing tomorrow in San Antonio. By the time this comes out, that gig will be history. But this is a funny story. There was someone online that had taken a picture of their screen, whether it's in their car or on their TV. I'm still miffed at that. I don't know what it was, but they had said, like, a person's name. I guess it's Siri, play me Jason McMaster, or play me Jason McMaster Broken Teeth, or whatever. Well, like 50 things came up. Yeah. And the funny caption underneath was, I guess I need to be a little bit more specific. And I said, well, I see my name and I see Broken Teeth, but there's other things that might come up. There's a guy brushing his teeth, all kinds of, but you would have to be more specific anyway. I almost cocked off. I almost posted a little blip under it that would say, well, if you had one of these, that's pretty fucking specific.
Yeah. So
if you had one of these, That's pretty specific.
Yeah, I mean,
Wouldn't
Jason
let a
McMaster and
robot-
Broken
you wouldn't-
Teeth, there's
you
4 or
wouldn't
5 albums to choose from, right?
It wouldn't be like 9. You wouldn't be so so confused if you went direct into the groove, right?
Right. Okay, last question. So, did they give you one trophy for the entire band that you have to fight over, or does every member of the band get their own trophy?
You're about to find out why me and Budro just laughed.
This ought to be good.
Well,
was there a fight on the plane on the way home?
oh no. It goes like this. So Tim goes up, scenario, right? Tim, our old trusted badass Viking manager, gets up and does his thing, and then I take the mic and thank you, and I sort of just revitalized his story and made it legit, and I even mentioned KNAC, and they broke our record in Southern California. I mean, they played the shit out of that. Both of those first 2 Sony records, they broke that record. We sold a lot of records in California because of KNAC. That was a big market for us and everybody else, right? So I mentioned that. There's a lady walk up, hands me a trophy, and it's cool. It's this cool, heavy gold, thing, right? And I say, thank you. And I'm walking, Scott takes it while I finish, and Scott's got it. Scott actually hands it back to me, and we walk over. Well, 1001, 1002, and there's hugs, and there's blah, and cool, and high fives. And this lady comes over and go, yeah, that's a dummy. I need to take that back.
And I'm hearing this.
Oh,
I don't know if I was recording or not,
remember, I'm mic'd up.
Yeah.
Hey, Budro, we just got the end clip to your documentary. This didn't really happen.
It was like, I heard
they take the trophy away at the end of the night, and it never really happened.
Yeah. It was like,
you're inducted, psych. You're not.
Wah, 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 wah.
but Jason, all I could hear was Jason go, "Oh, okay." like here you go.
So you didn't come home with any kind of trophy or plaque or anything like that?
No. But I have.
But I have a punchline.
I have answers that I don't even think Budro knows yet, and who was there firsthand. Because before the lady, totally kind, all good. And Budro probably heard me go, well, are they mailing us some, or
right?
Part of me's glad I don't have to shove anything in my backpack and put it, carry it around with NAM all day. Right. Here, Paul, carry this.
Paul's already got too much to carry, apparently.
Well, he didn't carry anything because of my tour managing skills. Right.
So what'd she say?
Well, not much. I'll find out for you. She just had to go, right? And I'm like, all right, well, it's the middle of a ceremony and they're busy. I'm not going to throw a tantrum here because I don't have my trophy, right?
Right.
The thing's done. I mean, it's just going to gather dust on my shelf anyway. So I'm walking. Yeah. We're all walking away, and I'm going, all right, well, that was weird. And I'm telling everybody the funny who wasn't in earshot. Budro already knew. I didn't have to tell Budro.
Right.
That it was a dummy. I'm telling Scott. And he goes, that was a dummy. She had to take it. He's like, what?
This is pure gold.
Yeah. And so the next day, like I said, I'm there at NAMM at Ellefson's booth. And remember, I brought up Muncie Ritchie, who's been in the biz forever, doing PR, radio PR for his company, Skateboard Marketing.
Yeah.
And he also broke the record. That means he pushed the shit out of the record and sold a lot of records for Dangerous Toys. So he's the guy I couldn't say hi to because he was busy as shit the whole time the night before. He's like, Jason, and we're drinking coffee and hugging, and man, great to see you, and da-da-da. Dude, I wanted to say hi, blah, 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 blah. You were busy, yada, 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 night's events, blah, 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 blah. And I said, before I go, I have a question. He goes, shoot, man, I got you. I told him about the dummy, the whole thing. And he goes, those trophies are being manufactured by a company in Los Angeles. The fires delayed production of these trophies.
Oh.
They had to skedaddle. They had to evacuate. So there's no trophies in boxes sitting there, or, and this sounds really sad, and I hope this is not the truth, or they're just melted on the floor.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's sad. So that's gonna we'll get to enjoy the ceremony twice when and if a box of trophies shows up on my front porch. So it's not really a sad ending, but it's funny. We laughed, we cried, we didn't get a trophy. Well, now you know why.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, hopefully there was some money raised at this event. I know that they pivoted at the last minute and tried to make it a bit of a fundraiser, and I'm sure every little bit helps those poor people in California. I mean, it's just heartbreaking to watch that. So hopefully this brought a little bit of joy to the scene in general. And
that was on my mind the whole time. That was on my mind all day.
Some of that money.
Yeah, I was trying to just convey that to anyone who I could tell that.
Budro, any last words from you as far as what you captured, what we might see in the future? You kind of already hinted at it. I know that you're probably just poring over the footage and seeing what makes the most sense. But
yeah, I mean, I just finished dumping it not too long ago, and it looks great. And so I just want to say thank you for inviting myself and my crew out. It was great. Couple days, going, touching on what you were saying about, 2024, 2025, relevance, dangerous toys, and not to like kind of sneak in a plug on myself, but like,
no, do it. That's what this show
Bloody
is
and
for.
Bruised is finding a new audience, is finding new audiences every day. And it kind of like helps discover or helps music fans, film fans, documentary fans kind of rediscover some of these groups and some of these people that have influenced current artists. And so, satellite radio is kind of funny, but, just today, Sony announced that they're going to be discontinuing Blu-rays, so technology is ever changing, and it's funny because, satellite streaming movies, DVD, vinyl, cassette, whatever have you. It's all very similar. So, and I'm very much an analog guy myself, if you can tell by the from behind me, but it's just funny because Bloody and Bruised is kind of that bridge in the middle. That's kind of it's a very digital product that's talking about a very analog subject. But I think that's kind of cool and copacetic at the same time. So, but to get back to your point, I'm really hoping, like I said, I want to wrap this into like a 30-minute short doc. Possibly a special feature on the DVD for the Bloody and Bruised film. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But I really want to kind of crank something out within the next couple months, and see what we can get out of it. And Bloody and Bruised is doing well. We've gotten some really great accolades along the way. We still have the rest of up until August to screen the film in festivals. And so we're just going to kind of enjoy the ride and see what we can do about gaining distribution and all that stuff. In fact, just before this meeting started, I just got a notification saying we've been accepted into the Prison City Film Festival, which is I believe that's out of Huntsville, Texas.
Of course.
Prison City.
Prison City, Huntsville. I get it.
Yeah. So things are trucking along. And, going with Jason and the guys to this Metal Hall of Fame thing was an honor for me. And, it's great for the film. It's great for the metal scene. It's great for the toys, obviously. And it's great for Pennyrock. And it's just great all around. So I thank you very much. And, it's been great.
Of course. Yeah. I'm happy you guys were available to come out there and just jump around in Anaheim with us a little bit. Man, it was fun.
Yeah. I just want to say again, congratulations. I'm so proud of you guys. One of the things sometimes I just kind of crack up and think to myself, this guy's my buddy, and he does all these amazing things, and you know, you get to do things that that most of us only dream of, and I think it's really cool that that you're recognized for that, not just by the people that are close to you personally and physically as far as geography, but the world at large. I think Budro is helping resurrect some of that with the Bloody and Bruised documentary, Dangerous Toys. You know, the name is known, the clown is known, the songs are known, the history is known, and I just couldn't be prouder of you. And I know I'm speaking for a lot of people here in Austin, Texas, and around Texas at large. I posted something on our Talk Louder Facebook page the other day about you guys being inducted, and it just blew up. And there was so many comments and congratulations. So I'm just going to speak for everybody right now when I just say congratulations. We're all very proud of you, and all the rest of the Dangerous Toys guys as well, of course.
Well, thank you, and on behalf of all of them, all of that is appreciated, and yeah, we saw your post, and we were related, and then the fact that people were sharing that and creating their own congratulatory postings as well. It was overwhelming. It was real quick. It was a no-brainer actually for me. Like I said, Budro was, I called him as soon as I told the toys. I included him immediately because it was a no-brainer. Because, like I said, the things that Bloody and Bruised are doing, have done, and will continue to do, as Budro, you were just saying. It was no brainer. You guys, I wanted you guys to be there if you possibly could, and I'm glad everything worked out, and everything did. Everything did work out. It was a fun time, and I'm glad it got documented, right?
Yeah.
So we can enjoy it again. It'll be fun. The funny moments will be funnier again. So.
Yeah. We'll be looking forward to that. I know Budro does nothing but professional work, so that's whatever it is going to be great. So
real quick, thank you, Budro, for being here today. We did have Mike Watson scheduled, and Mike Watson's not feeling well, so we gave him the night off, and I called Budro, and Budro played the part of Mike Watson this evening. So thank you.
He shaved.
Yeah.
Thanks
for having me.
Thanks for stepping in.
Of course.
Budro.
No, it made total sense. I'm just glad you were available.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Congratulations again to Jason and all the Dangerous Toys. You've come a long way from Mark Geary's kitchen. So on behalf of my co-host Jason McMaster, who's now in the Metal Hall of Fame, along with our special guest Budro Partida today, Pennyrock Productions on the Talk Louder podcast.